beginning of a bigger, more exciting journey. Ocean is the starting point of all possibilities. It's where we came from. It's where we are heading for. In the ocean of data, we leverage the power of convergence to unleash the potential in explosive data. Facing complexity, we adapt with stability. We make data storage clean, sustainable, and reliable. Facing changes, we adjust with agility. We enable efficient and on-demand data storage management. Facing bottlenecks, we create unlimited potential. We build new types of storage to help discover miracle of lives. Facing opportunities, we thrive. A new era is often unlocked by a critical breakthrough. Steam engines pushed the frontiers of power. Electricity illuminated our lives and boosted productivity. Information technology changed the way we live and create. Every breakthrough in technology changes the world around us. How much we do today will decide how far we can go tomorrow. From a seed of discovery to rapid progress, today, digital and intelligent technologies are unleashing unprecedented power. By building digital, intelligent infrastructure, we can help all industries boost productivity, defy limits, and move full speed ahead. By diving deep into practical challenges, we can tailor technology for any scenario, unleashing innovation for untold value. By building digital, intelligent ecosystems, we can foster more talent, more innovation, and more prosperity. What we've achieved so far is beyond belief. But this is truly just the beginning of a bigger, more exciting journey. Ocean is the starting point of all possibilities. It's where we came from. It's where we are heading for. In the ocean of data, we leverage the power of convergence to unleash the potential in explosive data. Facing complexity, we adapt with stability. We make data storage clean, sustainable, and reliable. Facing changes, we adjust with agility. We enable efficient and on-demand data storage management. Facing bottlenecks, we create unlimited potential. We build new types of storage to help discover a miracle of lives. Facing opportunities, we thrive ecologies. We respond to future business surge with innovative technologies. We choose for never-ending exploration. Green. Accelerate. Innovate. Let's embrace a green and digital future. Huawei Ocean Store Data Storage. Convergence of all possibilities.
Recorded information is essentially the story of civilization. At every turn, new storage methods have led to new human progress. From using the natural world to processed materials Humans have recorded, stored, and passed on information through increasingly accessible ways. As the transmission of information is advancing rapidly, we aim to create the new media paradigm to make infinite storage a reality. From complex storage to concise solutions, storing ever-changing data is as easy as zeros and ones. From diverse storage to converged solutions, next-gen media is driving the optimal solution for every situation. From transformative storage to disruptive solutions, trillions of bytes can be processed in a flash. Cutting-edge technology helps us keep pace in our digital world, hosting and sharing information with unlimited capacity. Driven by storage innovation, let's explore the future of new digital models, momentum, and business forms, and usher in a better economic society for all. Let's unleash the full potential of data and shape the future of industries. Starting from the binary number 1, we have created billions of bits of data that is powering the world. Coding has opened up a whole new world. In the large AI model era, a sea of data is shaping and fueling industries and redefining our roles in the world. Intelligent programming goes beyond traditional coding. It unleashes creativity and breaks down complex problems into simple code. The boundary between the physical and virtual worlds is becoming increasingly blurred. The ability to capture the finest of details in stunning ultra-high definition is revolutionizing the film and television industry. The genetic code has been converted into data, and we can use it as both a sword and a shield against disease. China's 7-minute genome sequencing process marks the start of a new chapter in medical treatments. Data is the cornerstone of the large AI model era. The next-gen AI beings in this era will help us adapt to changes in a wider range of scenarios. Data determines how successful AI will be. Huawei Storage takes a data-centric approach and is working to help reshape industries.
Hello, and welcome back to the keynotes of the Huawei Innovative Data Infrastructure Forum 2025. This morning, we discussed the relationship between AI and data, and we released the AI Data Lake. And this afternoon, we'll discuss the development and evolution of more specific data storage solutions under the influence of AI. And also just a reminder that if you're interested in any of the topics from today's keynotes, then please share on social media using the hashtag HWIDI. So let's kick off this afternoon with an insight report. Please welcome to the stage founder and lead analyst of Coldigo Research, Mr. Philip Nicholas.
I have the difficult mission to restart after the lunch. It's a privilege and an honor to be here with you today. I see the room is a little bit more, let's say, empty, but I'm sure people will join us. I wish to start with very simple slides, very simple content. I'm sure you will recognize many of names, acronyms, different things on this. You are familiar with, you play every day if you deal with storage and software, hardware, etc., cloud-oriented platform. And based on that, it gives me some ideas to say, wow, we are now, we live in a domain with plenty of words. Technologies, innovation are going super fast. So every year we run an end-user survey at Coldago, and we try to ask plenty of questions, classic, but also we try to integrate and add some current questions about current trends, etc. And based on that, as we are in 2025, the first 25 years of the century, I was interested to ask one question, the question 0, if I can say that, and it was about some of the technology that, let's say, impact the most the storage industry or the IT, or what are the most, let's say, data storage technology and innovation that impact since 2000, since the beginning of the century, your environment. And we have this only to end users, no vendors, no cloud provider, no system integrators or resellers, etc. The idea was really to collect information from result answers from end users. We address this to 1,500 people, and you see the right number, from US, the majority, and the rest from Europe, UK, Germany, and France. And you see the question in 2 flavors. It was an online survey, 1 answer per organization, okay? The person who received this was completely free to ask some other colleagues in order to answer to this, and we ran this a few weeks ago. And I wish to share the result with you today. The first is media. And you can even ask yourself the question and take the time to say, oh, do I share the same feeling, the same answer? Do I see on the market the same innovation, the same waves, the same trends? So the first, media. Second was about access to data, access to the information. And the third was related to Linux, hypervisor, and let's say open source in general. So in details, and you see the number, 82%, the number 1 is flash, and we all remember this kind of device. For some of you, if you remember what is it, what it is, it's Apple iPod Shuffle. Oh, it was released, how many? 15 years ago, probably, something like that. But it wouldn't have been possible without flash media, for sure. Okay, even our smartphone, it won't be possible to run a smartphone with an HDD. And even if you remember the first iPod, it was based on HDD, but it was released, I think, the launch was in 2001. So the first topic, by far, is flash media, due to many different things, advantages, and we suffer to run some environment with HDD, and we know for what they are good at. But SSD, flash, etc., deliver fantastic numbers for IOPS, bandwidth, and latency at the same time. We see this in many different flavors. I mentioned this on cardboard, etc., SSD, flash, etc., in different attachment capabilities as well. One of the probably most important aspects with SSD and flash was the NVMe connectivity. It filled the gap with other things, and for most than a decade, deliver in some environment and more in the data center, but even on the laptop, some capabilities. And you see this now, it's becoming the de facto standard. Flash existed in many different flavors. You see this, the SATA and SAS connectivity aspect. The companion with the network companion on NVMe with TCP transport, etc. is also a fantastic innovation. I think I remember last year, Peter Zhou launched, I think, the 122 terabyte SSD. And today, with this, but even with the 61 before, we beat, or the industry beat, the capacity of an HDD. Okay, so except probably for pricing reason, there is no real more advantages to continue with HDD except for this cost dimension. And it invites the industry to also introduce what we call, or some people call this SAN 3.0, Storage Area Network 3.0. You remember? SAN started around 1995. You'll probably have a few, let's say, vendors in mind. We have iSCSI, we have different technology, but with this, with NVMe over Fabric, it invites the vendor to develop what we can call true horizontal approach, true horizontal architecture, disaggregated, with that, what we call any-to-any, share everything, and finally, every node can speak to any devices. The second, and I mentioned this, the second was related to access, and by access, HTTP, S3, and API. It's essentially, and you remember this, there was a fantastic event in 2006. Amazon introduced S3, and it changed the world. Why? It's because HTTP became a storage protocol. This is crazy when you're thinking about this. We speak in the past about SCSI or disk file system for disk directly connected, or even NAS with NFS, etc. So HTTP offers us, with S3, the capability to introduce a complete new model and animal, what we call object storage in the past, but today we are more speaking about S3. If you ask yourself, give me an S3 storage to store some backup image, you don't care if it's a true or not object storage inside. And time after time, it helps to introduce what we call ubiquitous storage, the fact that finally remote storage became local. The third is about operating environment globally. I mentioned Linux, hypervisor, but it's also open source. Linux was started in 91. Okay, but the Linux kernel organization was started in 2002, okay, to have this strong dynamism. If you remember also, before, many of us probably use some Unix systems. But if you want to develop some system services, you have to buy the source code. And it costs, let's say, a certain amount of money. And for some startups, it's difficult to justify to raise money to finally buy some commercial license. So it helps also to launch this open source wave with different license model. It helps to develop some system services. We see plenty of projects around virtual and physical appliances. It helps the industry to release all of these virtual machine containers and Kubernetes. Kubernetes is an open source project. And we speak more and more about cloud operating model. Even on-prem, in the past, you remember the CIO, the model for many CIO was probably CIO of big bank. But now the CIO of big bank, his model is, they are hyperscalers, okay? And he tried to mimic and deploy on-prem a similar model with this kind of cloud operating model. Okay, so we have the three trends that really impact the first, let's say, 25 years of this, and it helps us to go to the next slide, which is, we are today in a key moment, and for a few years, to develop, release, initiate, introduce some modern data storage platform. It depends who is speaking. For many different reasons, okay? One of the reasons is everyone has a project, or at least use the AI in the room, I'm sure. Everyone try ChatGPT or the other aspect. End user have project in many, let's say, dimension, department, etc. A project on this. Vendors have to speak about this because without this, you are out of the game. And globally, when you speak AI, you mean data. Okay, so in other words, without data, there is no AI. But if you speak about data, you mean storage. So the idea was to introduce some new, let's say, key requirements because vendors, users who experiment this have some difficulties to deliver the promises or objective or goal or, let's say, utopia, if we can say that, of AI a long time ago on classic legacy system. It was not really possible. So it's the reason why the industry and many vendors introduce or try to summarize and address some requirements made by AI, okay? And you see here a few of them about fast processing, about the access of any kind of data with multiple API, access methods, protocols, etc. in any format, as I said, in a very high scalability way, and wherever the data reside. And based on that, and you see the connection with the previous study, you recognize a few things here about storage, about access methods, etc. A few vendors, or many vendors, the industry, let's say that, introduce and release some new, let's say, iteration of product. We see this morning a lot of slides about CPU, GPU, DPU, NPU. I also saw that on some slides, and everything about connectivity, memory, storage, etc. Without all of this, it is difficult to deliver a real storage-oriented AI or AI-oriented storage today without this. It's very difficult to sustain the requirement made by AI. But at the same time, so we see the strict requirements, strict demanding AI requirements, the technology and architecture coming together, and we see on the market two different dynamics. First, and you don't see the word storage on the top, but in the back. On the top, it's the idea to develop a platform, but for application vendor, for people, for vendor who start from the top of the stack. And for the infrastructure player, it starts from the bottom. And this is the difference with the storage world, okay? And both of them try to address and deliver some different maturity of solution. So what we call here a modern data storage platform can be summarized with what we try to define, if I can use the term, as a U3 platform. I think IDC this morning used the term D3. We had V3 or the 3V a long time ago with big data, if you remember this, volume, velocity, variety, etc. And here we say, oh, why not introduce a new dimension or a new metric that can help us to define what is a U3 model? So in terms of universal, unified and ubiquitous way to present the platform, to support any use cases for the platform with any methods, any format, and accessible from anywhere. So it helps you, if you use this, to potentially use this as a tool in order to identify for some use case, some ideas about the platform you define or you are looking for. Two things are very important to define also, what we call storage for AI or AI storage, and you recognize many different things here. And the second is AI for in storage or data management. This is, let's say, the opposite, okay? On the left, you recognize how can I make a product to support the I/O workload, etc., in a very demanding way. We cover this with multiple, let's say, access method. Parallelism is key. Memory, all flash stack, etc., for training and inference. At the right, it's different. I have, let's say, a backup software. I have data management, a global data management aspect for unstructured movement, etc. I have a monitoring system. How can I add some AI-oriented function to this in order to deliver new services? And at the end, it invites me to introduce what we developed for a few years at Coldago. It's what we call a Coldago map. So what is a map? A map is an independent report. By independent, you know what I mean? It's not something we build based on, let's say, an order, okay, by someone, but it's also referred to an image, and I will show you in a few minutes, on next slide, what does it mean? We target only two things, data management and data storage. We consider company with at least one product, okay, but we don't limit the study to this product. If a company has 3 products and the other only one, this is the reality of the market, with many different characteristics, and we don't predict the future. It's about the 12 past months. So market reality, okay? So we deliver this. We got also a bit influenced by the last, let's say, development and the high pressure with a capacity for some vendor to introduce new things, new architecture, okay? I mentioned new access method, parallelism, new flash media, etc., to release new features pretty fast, is it by acquisition or not, and proven by some benchmark, especially in AI. I think in this morning we see the MLPerf logo is exactly something like this we consider in order to have an independent, proven public methods. And just to illustrate this, this is what I call, or what we call a map. Map is a report, but map is also an image, okay? And for each of these, let's say here you have 3 maps for file storage, enterprise cloud and high performance, and 1 for object storage. So you can access the report, you can use this image, and you can see that there is significant number of players in each diagram, okay, in each image. So you can access this, download, and you can refer to the QR code or this URL. With that, I would like to thank you, and I will be here for the gala dinner. So if you want to continue to talk, feel free to join me, and it will be a pleasure for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Philip, for introducing to us how AI is reshaping the future of storage. So next, let's see how Huawei does it. All of you are familiar with Ocean Store Dorado all-flash storage. Today, let's witness the launch of the new-gen Huawei Converged all-flash storage. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Xie Liming from Flash Storage Domain of Huawei to give the speech, New-Gen All-Flash Storage, Empowering the AI Era.
I'm Liang. Thank you all for coming. It's a great honor to be here to introduce the new generation of Dorado. Thanks to our global customers for their trust and support for Dorado. Over 2,600 customers already have chosen Huawei Dorado. It is supporting the mission-critical applications of customers across the various industries. And in the fourth quarter of 2024, Dorado's revenue ranks the first globally. And now, 53 of the world's top 100 banks have already chosen Huawei storage. And actually, Huawei storage, Dorado, has truly become the top choice for the customers in the production storage. Look back at the development of the Dorado. We have always adhered to the concept of convergence innovation. In 2013, we launched the first industry's converged storage, perfectly combining SAN and NAS storage into one single box. And we then pioneered the introduction of NVMe SSDs and launched the first industry's native enterprise-class all-flash storage, bringing the production storage into the half millisecond era, while maintaining the enterprise features to accelerate the industry's shift to the all-flash. And in terms of reliability, we have continuously investigated. Our fully integrated architecture, keeping the business uninterrupted when 7 controllers fail out of 8, and a 10 NAS integrated active-active solution. These capabilities, I'm sure you are very familiar with. So I would like to say, on the path of the innovation, we never stopped. We will continue to do so in the future. AI era is a time of transformation, bringing significant challenge to IT infrastructure. So the first one, I want to say, AI era actually further accelerate the deployment of cloud-native infrastructure, because the AI-native application are typically containerized, with increasing emphasis on agility and flexibility. And the second one I want to talk is security. Emerging security threats are constantly evolving. Ransomware attacks have put a huge challenge to our business. And finally, I want to say the application, the LLMs and AI agents technology, enhancing our business, our enterprise production greatly. So, what should the primary storage respond to this challenge, and how to seize the opportunities represented by these technologies in AI era? Huawei believes that the primary storage should be enhanced in 3 areas. The first one is integrating the cloud-native capabilities. In addition to SAN, NAS protocol, native object storage should be provided. And the second one is intrinsic security. As the carrier of data, the storage system should address the data security issues within storage by themselves. And the third one is AI agents. Leveraging AI agents to fulfill adaptive optimization and revolutionize the operational and maintenance experience. So, okay, let's watch the Dorado's release video. Okay. Next, I will focus. Thank you. Next, I will focus on the several core capabilities of the new generation of Dorado. The first one is multi-protocol convergence. Okay, firstly, through our design of a shared storage pool and a seamless interworking across multiple protocols, we can achieve the maximum sharing of resources, allows for flexible allocation of the resources across different protocols, SAN, NAS, object, to address the business uncertainty. Furthermore, leveraging the unified architecture, unifying the blocks, SAN storage, NAS storage, object storage into one single brand of storage. The management is greatly simplified. And secondly, I want to say is multi-protocol parallel I/O path design, making the performance improved greatly. It's a parallel design. And the third one is, I want to say, it's these three protocols share consistent enterprise features like snapshot, replication, active-active. So it can provide unified experience across different protocols. That's cool. And the other one is reliability. Our reliability design is for mesh architecture. We call it smart matrix. In the new generation of Dorado, we have made further upgrades. In the past, as we know, with 8 controller full mesh architecture, we were able to support 8 controller failures out of 8. The business uninterrupted, providing extreme redundancy for the controllers. And today, we are introducing the 32 controller full mesh architecture through NVMe Fabric, upgrading the system fault tolerant from 7 controller failures out of 8 to 7 engine failures out of 8. As we know, Dorado, each engine contains 4 controllers. So in this way, the system redundancy has been greatly improved. Okay, next is about intrinsic security in storage. The storage as a carrier for the data, the storage system is the last line of defense for data security. How quickly we can detect ransomware attacks is very important. It's crucial. So there are 2 points particularly important. The first one is built-in ransomware detection within storage. It's crucial because the storage is the nearest place to data. So we can offer pre-event, during event, and post-event detection mechanism, enhancing the detection efficiency. And furthermore, leveraging the large model for detection, the detect efficiency, detection accuracy is great improvement. Okay, the second one is enabling virus detection on primary storage is also important because it allows for the virus detection after data is generation. So the primary storage is always the first one to detect a virus, minimizing the data loss to the greatest extent. As a further step, in the first half of the next year, we will launch an AI acceleration card, leveraging the powerful AI computing resources. The detection results will be even better. Okay, and the third part I would like to discuss is AI agent. How will it change the experience of the operation and the maintenance? There are several scenarios in storage management that are very complex, such as troubleshooting. Okay, we always do the network topology analysis and a massive log diagnosis, right? They are extremely complicated. Another example is anti-ransomware protection solution. The whole process includes several complex steps. Now let me take anti-ransomware protection as an example. Huawei anti-ransomware protection solution is designed based on IPDRR security framework. It involves 5 steps from identify, protect, detect, response to recovery. Okay, in the first stage, identify people need to identify the data sets that you want to protect. And then, in the second stage, protect, you should configure the protection policy like snapshot, encryption, or air gap, etc. And the second stage is detect. There are triple detection mechanisms: pre-event, the during event, and post-event mechanism. The choice depends on balancing the performance detection and business impact. So the final one, the fourth stage is response. We need to define the response policy after a virus is detected, like creating a snapshot immediately for protect, or disconnecting the net connection with the air gap zone for blocking. So the final one is recovery. You should find a suitable, clean data for recovery. It's comfortable. So each steps in this process involves so many complex strategies and configurations. So through AI agent, we can automate the whole process. The AI agent will be implemented in the protect and the detect strategies in the second half of this year. And further, we will extend it to the whole process in the future. So, the last but not least, protecting customer investment is core design philosophy of Dorado. Through FlashEver, the previous generation of Dorado can be smoothly upgraded, evolutioned. The existing of the system of Dorado can be upgraded through online new generation controller replacement, and it can also be expanded with the new generation storage system, building a cross-generation cluster. Okay, that's all. Thank you for listening. I hope everyone will continue to support our Dorado and help make it even better, even strong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Xie Liming, for bringing us such an exciting product. I think we can all agree that new-gen OceanStor Dorado all-flash storage is ready for the AI era. Now, does it meet the needs of the market? Let's share 2 data infrastructure construction practices and future plans to see how these industry pioneers think. Please welcome to the stage Ms. Ingrid Kollu, Infrastructure Director, Engineering D-Hub, to give the speech, Accelerating the Transformation with All-Flash Data Center in the AI Era.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Ingrid Kollu, Infrastructure Director at the Engineering Group, and it's really a pleasure to be here with you at the IAD Forum. So, at Engineering, we like to say that digital transformation is no longer an option. It's at the end our responsibility. And as we stand in the age of the AI area, this responsibility for me becomes really a call to reimagine our infrastructure from the ground up. So, let me give you first a quick introduction of my company. We are the largest Italian tech company and the ultimate business partner for sustainable digital transformation. We are glad to deliver tech services across every industry in a multi-country environment. So, couple of numbers here. So we are a global company, but we have Italian roots. We are around 40,000 professionals, operating in 21 countries, and generating 1.7 billion in terms of revenue. We are really proud to deliver several services to different industries, such as consulting, technology, implementation, managed services, and to do so, we have also 11 proprietary platforms that we use. What I learned as infrastructure director for the group is that true transformation happens when innovation meets reliability. These are 2 things that are really present in every kind of successful digital transformation journey. And true long-term transformation always starts from changing the infrastructure inside. So, which is our infrastructure DNA at the end, the core values in terms of infrastructure design and in terms of infrastructure management. First point is to build flexible, hybrid, and composable infrastructure, since one size never fits all if I look at the whole set of clients of the different industries that we serve at the moment. Second point is related to automation and intelligence. Automation and intelligence should be embedded in every layer of the infrastructure, from monitoring to management and every kind of service that we deliver to our clients. That is also why we have built 3 top-tier data centers in Italy, certified, resilient, and secure. And we can serve the different industries, considering also the different certifications that are required to serve them. Other important point that I would like to highlight is that we need always to start from zero when we analyze the best-of-breed solution available in the market. Really, no vendor lock-in in this sense is required. We need always to have the possibility to choose the best-of-breed solution because we need to build hybrid and composable infrastructure. So, the truth is that business needs have changed. These are trends for me that are happening now, today, not in the next 5 years. We have AI, we have real-time services, we have edge computing, a huge amount of unstructured data to be analyzed, and these things are all rewriting the rules in terms of infrastructure design and infrastructure management. In this context, a siloed approach for SAN and NAS, so the traditional one that we discussed already today, will result at the end in a huge infrastructure cost that definitely, as cloud service provider, we cannot afford. We are still also growing demand for 24 hours per day, 7 days per week service requirement in terms of availability, no matter for the industry. And this is also a requirement for us in terms of scalability that is huge. Other kind of challenge is related to data migration. Why? Because we need hybrid environments. We need always to choose the best of breed solution. And so data migration between data centers should be a priority. If we consider all these requirements and we put them all together, we can understand that next generation infrastructure is something that is becoming strategic. So not just the technical stuff in this sense. And to meet this moment, at engineering, we needed a partner that could share our vision, our transformation vision, and can support also our evolution. And in this sense, we have chosen Huawei. So in particular, we are choosing to migrate from the traditional silhouette-based approach in terms of vendor and workload to a unified storage pool based on Ocean Store Dorado technology. Here, the benefits are quite impressive. First one is related to scalability. Second one, huge vendor consolidation approach, cost saving, reliability, and also at the end, a huge reduction in terms of the overall cost management on the infrastructure itself. So basically, we have started also to sleep a little bit better during night because of the reliability of services, knowing also that my clients are starting also to sleep a little bit better in this sense. Double click on our architecture. So as mentioned, we have 3 data centers in Italy. Here you can find the overall 3 data center architecture that we have built, in which we can activate a business continuity configuration for the data center A, which is an hypermetro type, with a near zero replication between the other 2 engineering data centers. I'm really glad to show you these KPIs because they're really impressive, okay? So we moved from 14 storage systems to only 4 storage systems, and from 3 vendors to only 1 vendor. This results in a huge consolidation approach. This results also in a huge cost cut in terms of infrastructure management. We move also from 8 storage models to only 2 storage models, which are the Ocean Store Dorado 8K and 5K, and then the end from 54 rack units to only 24 rack units. So in terms of DC occupancy, we are talking about less than 54%. I'm really glad to show you that at the end, the business case is extremely positive, 46% overall in terms of cost saving. Well, so basically, you know that when we have to touch our infrastructure and we are responsible, accountable for the infrastructure, sometimes you're worried about it. You're worried to touch it because you're worried at the end about the impact. Thanks to Huawei migration tool, it is possible to define and implement a really low impact storage migration. In particular, the minimum impact is with a downtime from 1.5 hours to only 5 minutes. This is because we didn't use a traditional host-based migration, so no reboot also for physical server in this sense. Low impact also in terms of service interruption, and it's really important, as you can imagine, for us as a private cloud provider that we manage a lot of clients in different industries. So really important to have also this feature in place. So we have built an active-active storage architecture, as you can see here in this slide, with an RPO equal to 0, RTO near 0, with an end-to-end load balancing between the different sites, achieving 99.99999% of availability overall, and a really higher scalability. It's really interesting to understand a little bit more the scalability concept, because thanks to this technology, I have the flexibility to choose between a single data center to dual data center until 3 data center configuration in this sense, from both loon and file system granularity, since we have the unified storage pool here in place. So what's next? Which is a possible evolution. A possible evolution in this sense can be to build a ransomware protection as a service. Basically, we can dramatically increase our overall security posture of our data center, achieving 99.99% of detection rate by activating also Ocean Protect functionalities inside. So, which are the main characteristics of a ransomware protection as a service for a private cloud service provider like us? Well, the first one is the most obvious, as you can imagine, so detection and analysis, of course. Second point, second internal snapshot. Third one, which is fundamental considering today type of cybersecurity attacks, is independent backup. And then we have air gap physical isolation. In this way, really 99.9% detection rate as a target can be extremely interesting for us. So, which is the data center of the future at the end? Well, I think that isn't just about the technology. It's really building about the foundation for an empowered AI-driven ecosystem, decarbonized IT, and real-time decision-making. Because at the end, artificial intelligence, as we can see also always today, also in today's section, isn't just changing the application. I mean, AI is reshaping also the infrastructure and how we understand infrastructure as well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. Clearly, the cornerstone of enterprise digital transformation is the all-flash data center, a storage system with simpler architecture and more reliable services. Next, let's invite Mr. Stefan Schneider, storage leader of Abraxas Informatik AG, to give the speech, Adapting Innovative Solutions, Pain or Success Factors for MSP.
Good afternoon. I'm Stefan Schneider. I'm head of storage of Abraxas, and I'm very glad to be here. It is a great honor. Next few minutes, I will present you the MSP view to innovation, which means, is it pain or is it gain? So, first, what is Abraxas? Abraxas is the leading service provider of Switzerland. And what we are doing, I had a problem with that. So we are having 800 employees, a revenue of 200 million. And you see from the map, we are all over Switzerland. And okay, we talk business with our customers, we understand them, but we talk also the same language. So the guys from Zurich, St. Gallen, they talk German in a way. No, it is Schweizerdeutsch, they are talking that. The guys in Marche, eux, ils parlent le français avec les clients. And if you have some customers in the Italian-speaking part, parliamo italiano con loro. So, what are our clients? Our clients are government, they are insurance companies, they are cantons, they are also some enterprises, communities and education. And Abraxas is a bit special because our shareholders are also our clients. So during daytime, they complain that our services are too expensive. And at the management meeting, they complain that the revenue is not enough. So, but okay, we have to deal with that. So, what are we doing for our clients? We are doing a journey for them to get to the digital age. So, beginning with consulting, we are doing business applications, and in the end, we drive their application. And so perhaps you're wondering, yeah, what kind of applications are you doing? Is there a means to test that? If you want to test that, come to Switzerland, buy your car. If you like speeding, if you like to park your car at any place, there is a great chance you get a fine. And the fine is done by our software. So that is not for free, but okay, at least you tested that. So now back to the thing I really want to talk about. I think everybody agrees about the operational challenges we have. Everything has to be faster, more uptime, everything is okay. But as an MSP, there is one thing which is great. That is the amount of data. Because if I have more data, so I can have more revenue. But okay, if you're not MSP, not so. But all the things are raising service costs. And so we have to think, okay, how can we deal with that? So which are the cost drivers? Cost drivers are, for example, the most obvious. This is investment. Investment is investment maintenance fee, that is obvious. But okay, we, as Abraxas, I have to pay the data center guys from my company for every rack mount, for every power, everything is there. So I like to have systems which are really small, powerful, and don't need any really power. And the other thing is the operational effort. That is a thing which starts from day one till, let's say, 5 years. And if I have a bad operational software, so I'm really done. I don't know whom of you is using Veeam. Last year we had to upgrade Veeam from Veeam 11 to Veeam 12, and it was really a nightmare, because in the end we had double the effort for Veeam than the year before. And this is really driving our costs as well. And last but not least, data migration. Don't forget, we have many customers like to have, they like to talk about maintenance window, everything and so on. But okay, last speakers, we saw there is a solution for data migration, that it is going more smooth. That. Okay, just to tell you, where did we start? When I entered the company, you can see a zoo of brands. We had IBM, we had Huawei, we had NetApp, we have everything. And so the problem is you are not having the critical mass for negotiation. So we thought, okay, we have to get rid of that. So what did we do? First, we had the online storage. There we had a challenge that our main storage, which was the 5800 V3, we wanted to have some more capacity, but Huawei told, okay, it's out of service or out of sales. So we had to think, okay, what are we doing? So we buy the processor, so 555 or 10 or whatever. But the first thought is not always the best thought, because we knew that we have to replace NetApp as well. Okay, but then at that time, the V6, the Dorado V6, did not solve our problem. So we trusted Huawei that they will solve it. And they told, okay, within half a year, you will have the IP function. And this was really important for us. It was not half a year, it was 1 year. And okay, the implementation was, we had 2 outages. So it is really some kind of pain. But in the end, now we have 800, Dorado 8000. We have it active, and really we can do everything. IP works, block works, and we have all in one thing. We have all flash, and we have really reduced our data center space. So we are happy with that. So on backup storage, people that have been here last year, they know about the 4DC solution, which is most backup solutions have the lack of functionality if you have huge file systems and huge amount of little tiny files. So we were talking with Huawei, isn't there a true choice that we have snapshot-based backup? Yes or no? they were discussing with that, and they said, yes, okay, we found that. And this is the one we see here. We had the two Dorado 8000, these are the online storage, and the two 6000, which are then the backup systems. And we had HyperVault, which did here snapshots on the 8000 and converted this or moved the snapshots to the 6000. So everybody was happy. Okay, and the V5, 558 V5 is also end of support next end of this year. So we thought, okay, why aren't we doing something new? And we thought, okay, let's try Ocean Protect. And you can say, okay, Ocean Protect. So many people have Ocean Protect. What is new? New is that most of the clients have Ocean Protect with IP connection. We have it with fiber channel connection. So we have the fiber channel connection up to the Veeam repository server. And then I'm really 100% sure that is scalable and performance. And I'm really happy with that. But okay, is that the end? No, it is not. Because we thought, okay, do we have to have the 9000 and the 6000? Couldn't we replace the 6000 with that? Huawei always told, yes, you can do that. Okay, but there is a little but. You have to buy their data backup software. Then it is working, which was, okay, increasing our cost. But okay, we did it. We have a 4DC solution. We have Ocean Protect with 10-to-1 optimization. So we are really happy, and we have a fast recovery of all data. And then, power is nothing without control. So as we could get rid of all the other brands like IBM, whatever, we are using DME. DME is really, we have one view to the entire environment, and not just the Huawei. It is Brocade switches, it's ES6. I see everything. If I have a problem, I have it here. And if I have the problem or I have enlarged a LAN, I can do it directly from that. I don't have to log in into several storage systems. That is really a great thing. Okay, data migration, I think I don't have to tell about that. We heard it before. So we chose to buy FlashEver, and hopefully this year or next year, we can profit of the new gen hardware without any service interruption. And now, are we happy? The problem is AI. We heard so many things about AI. AI helps also the bad guys to attack us. So we have to have a protection against that. And we already heard that. We have the Ocean Protect 9000, the air gap solution. We have to think about that. But the problem is, okay, clients normally don't want to pay for that service. Perhaps we have to convince that because the service price goes up. But it is a good solution for surviving, because if we are attacked and we have a problem there, we are out of business then. So, kind of innovation. Then, as I told, we're not so happy having to use data backup. But now we see, the functions of data backup are more or less similar than with Veeam. And as I told you, we had to double the effort for Veeam last year. And what was the answer of Veeam? Yes, we increased the price by 10%. That was the answer of Veeam. And so we think, okay, we do a POC to see what is going on with data backup. Can we replace Veeam with data backup? So what, as a summary, my experience is, if you're an MSP, have a look at the solutions that are present in the market. Have a look at the solution that is of your provider, of your best provider. It is really worth looking there. And data migration, we heard there is the data migrator. Don't underestimate the complexity there. The outlook, yes, okay, we heard there is ransomware detection solution, because we have just block is 80%. We don't want to have ransomware on block, and there is no means at the moment to defend that. The findings, let's say, major technologies help you shrinking the service cost. That is okay. But one advice, don't be the first one to use the new technology. Let others have a bleeding nose and go in then. But okay, if you need some functions, as I say, if you have some missing functions, talk to Huawei, as we talked with a 4DC solution, and they will provide that, and then you're the first one. Nothing goes for free, but okay, we had a good impression with the cooperation with Huawei. So in the end, for me, for MSP, it is key to success if you're really doing everything which innovation has. And we look first at Abraxas, at Huawei, what is their solution, and we always had a good time with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan, for your terrific speech. So it's clear that all scenario flash is the general trend. And while enterprise data centers should generally be transitioning to all flash, what about enterprises with a small amount of data and relatively simple IT needs? Is there a more lightweight solution for them? Well, you can find out in this next speech. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Michael Georgi, CTO of IT Solution at Huawei Germany, to give the speech, Simplified All-Flash Data Center, Flash for All in the Commercial Market.
Welcome, and I'm glad to be here. I had a pleasant time in the morning with all of our partners and customers and having a lot of interesting conversations already. I hope you had a pleasant time as well. I have the honor to talking about a very important topic. We were hearing about AI solutions, high-end storage systems, and how they're integrated with our customers. But don't be fooled. The main growth of our business comes from the commercial market and the efforts our partner put into that. That's why we at Huawei have a deeper look into that. And that's what I'm going to share to you. But before I'm trying to share with you the challenges of a commercial customer, let's agree on one thing. And I think that was already mentioned in the speeches before quite clearly. This future in the commercial market is all flash. It's very clear. You can see cold data disappearing, generating more warm data or hot data, by at the same time expanding in the petabyte level, even for those customers. Let's take, for example, an observatory. Their data is highly valuable. They can do analysis. They can train large language models. So they're keeping their data much, much longer. And it increases by the numbers and by the day. At the same time, in the primary area, all flash already showed that also backup storages need to keep up in performance. There's a high need for higher performance storage systems in order to keep backup windows low and comply with all those policies. And last but not least, very obviously, it's the only way to make green IT. Look at those numbers. I mean, the queries of one day just to ChatGPT is using as much power as 17,000 households. It's tremendous if you think about there are so many models and so many data centers out there. So all flash is inevitable. I think we can agree on that. So let's now face the challenges of commercial customers. Commercial customers are experiencing more demand on resiliency. A return to operation near 0 seconds is key, and it's a key requirement. That's nothing special. But more importantly, they are looking for a one-stop procurement, an easy way to build up their full-stack IT infrastructure, not only storage or backup, but also networking and virtualization compute. At the same time, of course, we already heard that in the speech before, there's quite a lot of challenges if you're trying to implement that with several different vendors and products. So they are looking for a simplified operational management. And of course, I mean, that's the key driver of any business, it's the affordability. So at Huawei, we already addressed that. Last year in Berlin at IDI 2024, we introduced DCS as our virtualization solution for virtual machines and containers. We integrated that and coupled that with our well-known and well-liked storage systems and leveraging all the key benefits of them, high data reduction ratios, high efficiency, convergence, and stuff like that. And overall, in order to make that more simple, considering the operational management cost, we use the DME and the DME-IQ, you just heard it before, to generate a unified operation and management perspective, also for troubleshooting an environment. But of course, we have to innovate further. And that's what we do. Let's start with the baseline, algorithms and the media itself. On the algorithm level, our key focus and our key efforts during the last months and years was to improve the data reduction, even for those mid-range systems with less capable hardware and computing power. And we were quite successful. By feature-based compression and byte-level compaction, we are actually able now to increase the general data reduction ratio, even of our mid-range systems, to 5:1, making them much more affordable in the consequence. On the media level itself, we also made some very high progress. We are using a unique DOB stacking, allowing us to create chips with higher PBW, meaning with longer longevity and high resiliency. And just out of curiosity, some people might already know, actually, the Huawei media, the Huawei SSD, is the industry-leading media when it comes down to capacity density on the whole market. Those media allowed our Ocean Store capacity flash systems to reduce the footprint in very specific scenarios by up to more than 90%. And at the same time, you heard that from Peter before, the power consumption of our Ocean Store Pacific dropped below 1 watt per terabyte, which is a tremendous decrease if you think about that and if you think about a scale-out solution like Pacific. But of course, integrating our DCS solution was also key to our strategy. DCS is not a standalone application. Sure, you can deploy it standalone, but it's best used coupled with our existing systems. I thought about 2 examples. The first example is about security and data resiliency. Everybody is now aware of our anti-ransomware protection solution with an accuracy of more than 99% on NAS and block-level use cases. We couple that with our DCS solution to increase and make an even more accurate detection. More importantly, from my point of view, as a service guy in heart, I really like the fact that our customers using DME and DME-IQ are able to locate any fault in their environment, VM, storage, server, networking, on a minute level, allowing them to diagnose and troubleshoot with more and higher accuracy. And of course, the whole morning and of course the afternoon is full of AI. And of course, AI is also present in our products and also in our storage. Our focus for 2025 is very clearly to assist our customers and partners further with improved and more easy-to-use tools. So I'm really proud to see that we increased the risk identification and automated that in DME-IQ, in addition to the features like online remote updates, which we already provided. The idea of intelligent operational management and a call home is to increase the efficiency and the accuracy of the troubleshooting itself. Actually, we aim for 90% faster troubleshooting by having 80% of all the cases being solved automatically. So SR can be dispatched much quicker and problems can be solved much faster. But the most interesting point, and I really urge everybody to try that out once you have the chance to do so, is to check on our AI chatbot. This is now integrated in our DME-IQ app directly. It's DeepSeek integrated, and it was learning from over 25,000 storage documents, 200,000 cases, and 80,000 question and answer pairs. So it's more intelligent and efficient as ever. This is a tool enabling our partners and customers to more quickly get to the information, more quickly get new troubleshooting mechanism, and just overall ease the operational management in addition. But of course, everything, even a really nice full stack all-flash environment, is useless if you're not able to transition from an old environment. It's mostly, in the past, it was a very painful way to do so. And most people avoided to do so because of the efforts involved. So the migration director of Huawei is always the key and is a focus product of our product line. It enables physical to virtual migrations, but also virtual to virtual migrations with the most major brands included, VMware, Citrix, or even Hyper-V. No matter how your environment looks like, no matter how heterogeneous it might be, Migration Director can keep up with that. In addition to the tool and the software itself, we have a wealth of experience. We have more than 300 migration experts just waiting to assist our customers and partners. And we have already a very high proven track record of more than 2,000 already successful finished migrations. In the end, we are nearing the end of my speech. Of course, it comes down to the affordability. I just mentioned that. And with the high capacity SSDs last year, which were introduced last year, we already proved with our OceanStor capacity flash systems that we can provide cost-effective solutions, even cheaper than traditional HDD-based solutions in a scale-out environment. This year, we are bringing that to our entry-level storage systems, especially in the very low end and the very small project sizes. We are now enabling solutions who are actually at the same level or at a lower cost than traditional hybrid or HDD solutions. At the same time, we're trying to improve the experience from a customer and a partner point of view. So we are automating the process of generating data reduction services and data reduction guarantees. So those are generated automatically from the system, allowing the customer to get offers much quicker and more accurate, and for the partner, enabling them to make better and more suitable offers much easier. And of course, once a project is implemented, you want to know the outcome. What's the review? Is it working as expected? So also DME-IQ application and the DME-IQ portal gets now integrated with data, especially from those data reduction numbers. So you can see in real time if the service and the agreement is met or not. and how it looks like in detail. What I'm talking here is not a distant future or a roadmap. It's here and now. And we have customers, for example, Naveum, based in Switzerland, who actually faced all of those challenges I previously mentioned. They were experienced in a heterogeneous environment, hard to manage, performance bottlenecks, and so on and so forth. What they were doing was what I was explaining before. They were switching their environment to a homogeneous solution with DCS, integrating our Ocean Store Laredo with Metro Cluster solution and the Ocean Protect backup solution. By doing so, they can now leverage VM, container, storage, and backup from a unified user interface, from a unified operation and management and maintenance perspective. And at the same time, they were able to solve all the performance bottlenecks and problems they had alongside. But I mentioned before, I'm a service guy at heart, so I think the last point is the most important and outstanding. They are now able to be notified on the minute level about any issues in the whole stack of their data centers. And they are able to locate those problems within just 5 minutes, allowing them to focus on the more important tasks and be more efficient, cost efficient. So what's the conclusion then? What's the conclusion of everything of that? From a Huawei perspective, the conclusion is very clear. Flash for all. Simplified, full stack, all flash data centers. Pave the way for a brighter, smarter future for all. Thank you very much, and have a nice afternoon.
Thank you, Michael, for your really intriguing speech. With such product portfolios and programs, digital transformation will be deeper and more thorough. Today, we've seen a host of new products, and this is the result of Huawei's continuous investment in R&D and the non-stop innovation with technical experts from around the world. And as we come to the end of the keynotes, let's welcome Andy Coles, Chief Scientist of Huawei Data Storage at Zurich Research Center, to introduce how Huawei continuously explores and evolves around storage media, architecture, and algorithms.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andy Coles. I direct activities at the Storage Research Lab at the Zurich Research Center. My background is 23 years in storage, starting with hard drives at Seagate, also working on QLC and TLC SSDs at Micron. I also built the cloud with AWS for several years. Now I'm here. Let's talk a little bit about the innovations in our lab and generally. What we do in the lab is that we start with our current products. We also look at what's on the roadmap, but we're really looking at the N+2, N+3, what's out there that we can prototype, that we can theorize about, simulate, emulate, so that we can intercept the next generation of products, which is, really important. And also, Huawei is very good at this because of our vertical integration. Some challenges here, especially in this intelligence era. The throughput density problem. We've talked a lot about throughput, data-centric computing. As we add capacity, without adding bandwidth, we have the potential to strand capacity and make it inaccessible for services which have certain service level objectives and requirements. The growth of data, for example, LLM contexts, is explosive. Even for an HBM-enabled, very expensive NVIDIA or GPU complex, where HBM takes over half the cost of the complex itself, The working sets are overwhelming even that expensive memory. This causes inefficient data transfers, thrashing, excessive swaps, basically inefficient activity when it comes to the data. All of this leads into a very, very expensive problem, which is low GPU utilization. I challenge you to find high GPU utilization, or at least those who have invested in very large-scale GPU clusters are often disappointed by how much their GPUs are utilized. Let's just talk a little bit about media, because media is the key to storage. Media dominates latency, it dominates cost. There's clear differentiation between the media when it comes to cost and latency. Looking at latency in the context of data transfers, we can see that the transfer time can become large with large sequential runs. So depending on the workload, latency may or may not be your chief concern. Bandwidth instead is. So as bandwidth increases and transfer lengths increase, it can be possible to wave away a little bit the higher latency of some cheaper media in order to lower the cost of your system with no effect on the user experience. Keep in mind that in the GPU parallel computing era, even direct from memory, systems are designed to hide latency. So sequentialization is very important. Finally, NAND is a special media. We've long organized NAND for throughput. As interface speeds have scaled, throughput is able to scale because NAND is reorganized, parallelism is added at the die, channel, and PCIe lane level. So throughput density. Density increases without capacity increase. Capacity and density increases have outgrown interface, or for the same interface, as we grow the capacity, we lose throughput density. Again, this can cause stranding of capacity. If you see some of these examples, if I'm attached to an NVMe Gen 3x4 interface and I just add capacity, I have a degradation of throughput density. If I have the same capacity but I add interface speed, I can gain that scaling of throughput density. It's very difficult to scale throughput density. It requires brute force approaches like expensive buses, more expensive devices, which isn't ideal. So one of the things that we're working on in Huawei research is compute and storage acceleration. So basically, we're pushing the compute in this data-centric world, in this data-centric architecture that we envision. We're pushing the compute closer to the storage, either in the storage module, inside the SSD controller, or even on the media. What this does is free up data movement and increases what we call effective throughput. So for the same hardware, and we know hardware is very difficult to change once it's landed, for the same hardware, we can attain that ideal scaling of throughput density by increasing the effective bandwidth, basically transferring less data for the same amount of compute. In our research, we found massive acceleration can occur depending on where we put the acceleration, how close to the storage we put the compute. So throughput density and compute and storage acceleration go hand in hand. From an algorithm's perspective, KV caches are highly compressible. They're often swapped very frequently. What we're able to do is attain high compression ratios on these KV caches and other AI-related metadata. What this does is increases effective throughput. What that does is allows higher throughput density for the same hardware. It also, by the way, lowers power, reduces wear on components, and frees up the CPU for additional compute. So another another piece here is that because of Huawei's vertical integration, we're able to take research innovations, for example, new compression algorithms, and move them into silicon very quickly to get them out there into products to our customers with a rapid development cycle. Data and control disaggregation. We've seen some of that today with the appliances outside the door. Basically, we're moving away from a CPU-centric paradigm. We can linearly expand performance. We can end up with lower end-to-end tail latency because there's fewer stages in the data path. And this is available in the newest products. Another concept that is in our group we're talking about is NPO native I/O. Basically, the NPU becomes a first-class citizen in the system which manages its own I/Os between media. Our storage provides an adaptive interface and semantics to cater to various needs. For example, block semantics, file semantics, vector, or object. This results in faster model training, reduced hardware, reduced inference latency, and a better customer experience, whether we're talking about inference at the edge or something in the data center. Again, this simplifies things by deleting components which are no longer centric to the customer experience. So, in this storage system, we have solutions, we look at solutions in our research group from rack scale all the way down to the disk. We have fully integrated compute, network, and storage solutions. We seek to maximize resource utilization, for example, GPU utilization, and uptime, and redundancy. We are working on minimizing blast radius. One failed component, how large is the blast radius for that component? We know that we want to minimize that. We also seek in the research group to allow field operability with field replaceable units as small as possible and hot swappable if possible. We're integrating our SSDs and our SSD technology in a low level with the GPUs and NPUs and DPUs. For example, in storage processing, where we add protocol that tightly couples the processing units to the storage such that offloads can occur. All of our innovations can be rapidly developed using custom silicon and our custom software ecosystem to provide rack scale solutions with the lowest TCO, the highest throughput density to all of the media that we may choose to attach. Current subjects for research. Again, I mentioned throughput density. We're talking about not just raw physical bandwidth, but also effective bandwidth, essentially more efficient use of existing bandwidth. We're looking at NAND flash, new types of media, new configurations of that media that scale more efficiently. We know that at scale, tail latency is an issue, even if we're talking about very, very sophisticated and fast media. So we want, what causes tail latency? Well, errors cause tail latency, command collisions cause tail latency. And so things like protocols like zone namespaces and flexible data placement, research members of our group have either worked on those or conceived of these concepts. Also, error rates and failure prediction. Now, I use the P word, prediction. It's very difficult to do. But if you can predict, or at least infer, that a component is going to be slow or fail, you can steer traffic away from it, particularly in a vertically integrated solution. Multi-chip packaging. We might have heard of high bandwidth memory. What about high bandwidth flash? Basically, increasingly, the industry is moving towards 2.5D and 3D packaging which requires serious innovation and the concept of decomposing SSDs, where we don't necessarily have a centralized SSD controller that controls many die, but rather we push some of that SSD sophistication down to the die level. Workloads. Conversations with customers in my career have always come down to workloads. What is the workload? Sometimes the customer doesn't know. Sometimes they do. Either way, our job, one of our charters in Huawei research, is to characterize workloads, to obtain the workloads, to characterize them, and to look for opportunities such as sequentialization, such as data heat, and use those opportunities to design systems, which can be dynamic, to handle workloads in an optimum way. Finally, evolving interfaces. Throughput is key. Interfaces are becoming higher and higher throughput. For example, the Gen 5 to Gen 6 PCIe transition. We're talking about optical connections to allow longer run lengths of PCIe Gen 6, which is very difficult to run very far on copper. Compute Express Link. This allows coherent, large, pooled memory and storage across large distances. High bandwidth memory. High bandwidth memory is a completely new, completely order of magnitude higher throughput that we wonder, can we attach storage with high bandwidth memory? So all of this, again, is within the context of Huawei's vertical integration. We have native applications, we have a custom kernel in silicon, and we have a very broad product line. Our innovations from the research group are aimed at very quickly delivering into the products and then to the customers the value that we find in our research. That's all I had to talk about today. Thanks everyone for your attention.
Thank you, Andy. Data awakening, storage evolving. Technical progress and customer requirements have always been the central forces that drive the continuous growth of Huawei data storage products. And in the future, we also hope to help more customers fully embrace intelligence. Today's keynotes have come to an end. We also prepared for you many sessions and roundtables, as well as the exhibitions. For the sessions and roundtables, the most direct route is out the back by following the sign to the stairwell. And also, in the evening, we hope to see you back here to enjoy some music, food, and also some great prizes. See you then.